What's it like to be back here, UEA?
Well, this very room.
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it?
Fantastic. I don't have a great memory of this.
You don't have a great memory of any of it because you weren't here for very long.
No, I wasn't, and let's be honest. And during the time I was here, I wasn't conscious.
No. So I think Paul's seen more of the university today than he did when he was actually supposedly studying.
Yeah, that's true.
Just how much studying did go on during your time at UEA then?
Well, there was a lot of studying going on, but none of it was done by me.
Paul didn't last very long.
I managed a year.
Well, that's pretty
we
good.
had a couple of friends who were kicked.
Most of the people that I met in my first year
were all kicked out.
And I had to make a whole new bunch of friends. But I stuck with it, and I was very spotty, and I got a 2-1. And,
well, that's pretty impressive.
Mm.
But you also,
I got a first in life.
And that is worth a lot, I think. It really is.
Not as much as an actual 2-1 in studying.
But you both did all right for yourselves, so I think you know, both count. There was also a bit of music going on here as well, wasn't there, while you were here?
Yeah, we were. I mean, we didn't really have any intention of going to comedy, not consciously at the time. We were more sort of into music, weren't we?
Yeah, well, we came here in 1977. It was the height of punk rock, of doing it for yourself and just going out there and going for it. So we did. We formed a student punk band.
Yeah, the most reviled of all organised concepts, the student punk.
Well, you had a band as well in London, though, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a band, and I worked for Hackney Council, and then I was a plasterer, and
by that time the band had finished, and I was a decorator. We often worked together.
That successful the band was then, was it, Charlie? That you moved on from that to decorating, yeah?
But it was actually decorating, wasn't it, that was sort of key in going into the comedy?
It kind of was, yeah, because I was plastering with an old friend of mine, and we sort of joined forces, didn't we, to do quite a lot of work. And actually, at that time, that was where we developed perhaps Harry's sort of most well-known character, which was Loads of Money, many years ago now. 30 years? Yeah, 30 years ago. And so that took off so instantly that it kind of gave us the pathway into writing comedy. And
one of the last decorating jobs we did together was to decorate the house of Mr. Stephen Fry and Mr. Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
Was that just coincidence? Or?
It was through Harry.
Yeah.
We were writing with Harry at the time, and he said, "Oh, we're working with these guys, and you know, they need decorators." So we would decorate the house, and we would sort of do very loud comedy routines and funny characters.
So they knew
in the hope
what they were
would
dealing
say,
with.
"Oh, my word, you guys are extremely funny. You must come and do something on the television with
Did
us."
it work?
And it did.
We
actually,
did, yes.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, our loyalty, we were with Harry. I mean,
that was the first TV we did, was with a sketch with Stephen and you.
I did a thing on their sketch show, a bit of Fry and Laurie.
Was that before we did the band on Saturday Night Live?
Oh no, that would have been first. Yeah, we did it. We did a couple of.
We were Hugh Laurie's backing band in a sketch on Friday Night Live. Yes.
Stephen's backing band. It was the gist of the sketch was Stephen was terrified of singing, and so he had to it was a cathartic singing and dancing act he had to do, and we were the backing band. Yeah.
But if we take that backing band analogy on a little further, it got to, I know, I'm being clever here, it got to the point where you realised you wanted to be the stars as well, and this is why we're here really, Fast Show.
It wasn't that we realised that we wanted to be stars, we realised that we were the stars.
Quite right.
What's the name of your band again, Charlie?
We didn't really have a career path. We enjoyed writing. Harry was doing stuff. We were writing with him. Our other friend Vic Rees was doing stuff. We were doing bits and pieces with them. It seemed like a fun thing to do, so we got involved with it. And on the back, really, of what Harry was doing with Loads of Money and Stavros, people started hiring us to write other things, and that led to Harry Enfield television programme.
Yep. Yeah, so yeah, as I say, we were kind of regarded as Harry's sort of idiot mates, but because the characters had taken off, you know, so well, they obviously thought, you know, I'll call them the Oxbridge Mafia that run everything, you know, thought, oh, they might have something, so that's how we got in the door, really.
Can you believe that it is 25 years since the
It seems like 125
Does
years.
it?
It's interesting. I mean, we're doing this here where we met at UEA, and they've got this little exhibition on of some stuff, including old photographs of us on location. We look like children.
I know, yeah.
But
let us loose with a budget.
Somebody
and some cameras, you know.
Yeah, so,
did.
you know, I mean, sometimes it feels like yesterday and sometimes it feels like, you know, someone else's lifetime.
Yeah, it does.
What was that time like? It must have been
it was
surreal.
It was very exciting. It really was, wasn't it, Charlie?
Well, it was amazing.
It was a very, you know, sort of creative time. It felt like that. I mean, it's probably not.
Well, it
but,
was.
But Britpop sort of was emerging, so it was very, you know, it was the Blair, sort of, that early Blair years. There was a lot of hope.
And there was an amazing establishment at the BBC then for making entertainment.
Yeah.
There were, I won't list the names, but they were legendary names who were running it. And there was so much stuff happening in the 90s. 70s? Oh,
You're not
the
that
70s.
old.
In the 90s, in the
I
comedy.
can't remember which decade it was, but it was wonderful.
In the comedy-
It was a really wonderful decade. We flourished. I can't remember the actual decade.
But no, it was fantastic. And, you know, we also were producing the Fast Show, so that basically the BBC gave us a certain amount of money and said, go away and make a show. And we did. We were working with our friends. And
Yeah. People who made us laugh, people who were just emerging, you know, fantastic people like Caroline, you know, the late great Caroline, and Felix Dexter. But, you know, just looking at the pictures outside, and it was like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
So it's quite poignant, you know, to see those as well. But we were effectively sort of let loose, and they said, you do what you like, you know, which is...
And you certainly did that, didn't you?
We did what we wanted, and in a way you have this. It's why Reeves and Mortimer have been so successful and have such a loyal following. They created the world that they know and love, and sort of let you in. But we were lucky in finding those performers, and they were all, you know, writer performers, and we, you know, we had a sort of level of diversity that perhaps other shows didn't have at the time. So, you know, it was a great time. Mind you, there were a few rows, weren't there, Charlie?
well,
Oh. Who used to row the most?
Well, I can't say. Charlie, you will. No.
well, we were in charge, and you know, I probably played bad cop to
And
you,
I
good
played
cop.
good cop.
Whereas in real life, it's
It's
the other way around.
yeah. It is.
What did you make of the fact that it became such a cult and still is?
Well, you know what? It didn't start with, did it, Charlie? It was a bit of a slow burn of the first series.
But surely that's the definition of cult, is something which is popular but not many people watch.
Yeah, but it wasn't particularly popular. It took, I think...
It wasn't popular and no one watched it. First series, it was a quiet start.
Yeah, John Peel, I think, got behind it. And
that helps.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
It did, well, and he was the TV critic for the Radio Times at the time, which was a very influential position. It was a sort of show that it had very loyal following, and it was a sort of show that rewarded repeat viewing. You got more out of it the more you watched it. And so by the end of the series, it had built up quite a head of steam, but still the BBC weren't entirely sure whether they would
But it wasn't
recommission it.
It wasn't as cutthroat as it is now. You know, if you don't get a certain level, bang, you're gone. You don't get a second series, and that means that a lot of comedies, you know, don't get to progress and develop. We had that chance, and so did. I mean, Only Fools, apparently. You know, John Sullivan thought he wasn't going to get a second series. Yeah, Blackadder. John Lloyd said to me, if that policy, you know, that exists now existed then, Blackadder wouldn't have seen the light of day because it would have gone after series 1. And it only really took off after series 2 and 3. I always I've got a little mantra, which is you should always commission 2 series of any comedy to give it that chance to develop. But of course, I'm not the boss.
So
And that's why you never will be.
So tell me about maybe some of your what's your favourite character then? There were so many, I know, or favourite sketch?
Well, Ted and Ralph was perhaps the one that touched most people, and obviously that Charlie and I did together. And it was actually sort of the antithesis of the Fast Show, really, because it was very slow. We had no catchphrases in it, and we barely said anything. And it was quite dull to do for me. I just used to stand there and go, I wouldn't know about that, sir. There's a problem with the drainage in the lower field, sir. But Charlie is superb in it.
Oh,
And
thank you, darling.
No, but you are, and you're often, it's sort of unsung, your performance in those sketches. Because Charlie's sort of seen more as the kind of the governor of the whole thing, whereas actually, you know, as a performer, especially in those those sketches, which, as I say, were the ones that touched people the most.
Yeah.
So it's great. But I used to like doing Suit You, Sir, was always very funny. Probably inappropriate now, isn't it?
It was inappropriate,
say it,
then,
though.
that was the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Go on, say it, say it.
Oh, do you want it, madam? Oh, suit you. Yeah, sod it, we don't care, do we, Charlie? No, we don't care.
But Roly Birkin was one.
Roly
of my
Birkin was my favourite, I suppose, of the old guy who's in the poisonous monkeys. And I went round the corner, Cairo. I was very, very drunk. He was fun. He was fun. And actually, Charlie would sit sort of where you are and just have a board with a few daft phrases like poisonous monkeys and, these bears had taps on their legs. And I would sort of waffle on and pick a phrase at random, and that's how we filmed that one. But yeah, he was very popular character.
Did you have a favourite?
Well, I did like Roly Birkin. I mean, obviously, my characters were particularly good too. No, I mean, as Paul said, Ted and Ralph have sort of became the most popular characters on the show.
Yeah.
Simon Day's competitive dad was a brilliant character. All Mark Williams stuff.
Mark was great because he actually kept the sort of ideology, if you like, of the show. This week, I've been mostly eating yoghurt back in his shed. That was it. And John, Jazz Club was always a favourite of ours. Yeah. So we. And
is it?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think one thing about the Fire Show, sometimes I've watched it and I don't necessarily laugh at a lot of it, but I do think, wow, there was a real range of stuff there, and that's what it gave us the option, the ability to do, was throw a lot of the, and hope some of it sticks.
Well, I think it certainly did that. Reluctantly, I think we better end it there. I could talk to you all day and I could keep going on about the future because I know you've both gone on to do great things, but I think we will call
I've done slightly greater things than Charlie.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I'm a novelist.
I've got a hit West End musical. How about that?
I've got an honorary doctorate from this university.
Actually,
Yes.
I was logged out after a year.
Yes.
Beat that, as Simon Day might say.
Gents, thank you very much. That was
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
I can safely say I've never done an interview like this before.
It was a bit crash bang wallop, wasn't it?